As technology has developed over the years, we've become increasingly reliant on data centres, large warehouses full of computers which run services like online banking.
Now, research shows that more than 90 new data centres are planned for the UK in the coming years. And while the investment could boost growth, there are concerns over the environmental impact, as our technology editor, Zoe Kleinman, has been exploring.
From scrolling on your smartphone and movie streaming to digital banking and AI tools, data centres power modern life, but there are growing concerns about the amount of energy and water they require. Data centres are generally large warehouses full of powerful computers. There are around 500 of them in the UK already, and the government's very keen to build more. It believes that having more data centres will help grow the economy by encouraging wealthy tech and AI companies to be based here and invest here. According to research from Barber ABI, at least 94 data centres are at various planning stages or already being built. This is an increase of around a fifth, with many due to be completed within the next 5 years. The majority of them will be in the south of England. 9 are planned in Wales, 1 in Scotland and 5 in Greater Manchester. More than half will be in London and the neighbouring counties. Google's building 2 data centres in London, while Microsoft is planning 1 in London, 2 in Leeds and another near Newport in Wales. But not everyone is thrilled about the data centre boom. Residents in Hertfordshire are protesting against an 85-acre site on greenbelt land which they describe as the lungs of their neighbourhood.
Data centres are the beating heart of our digital economy, and every single business, every single homeowner, whether they realise it or not, rely on the data centre sector. The amount of power required is increasing. The data centre sector is very aware of it, and there is a conference that goes by where it is wall-to-wall discussions around energy efficiency.
The industry says it's working hard to become more sustainable and energy efficient. It's considering nuclear power options and developing alternative ways of cooling which don't require as much water.
We think that the way to AI or increased productivity or what have you is more and more data centers, but it's not a given. It's not necessarily the case. What's interesting is that we need them as a global community, but it's the local communities that pay the price, right? It's not, if you live beside a data center, it doesn't mean you have faster internet or more access to Netflix.
There's no doubt that our digital lives would be limited without data centres, and they're essential for the booming AI sector. AI bosses say the tech might end up solving the problem for us. The question is whether we can afford the environmental price tag while we wait. Zoe Kleinman, BBC News.
Well, let's talk to Astrid Wynne, who's Chair of Sustainability at the Data Centre Alliance. Astrid Wynne, very good morning to you. Do you want to start with some real basics? That's never a problem for us doing that, as in why these places have to exist and why they're becoming so big and so prevalent.
Yeah, I mean, the previous clip explained that data centres are where the internet lives. So it's where our online banking lives, it's where streaming lives, music, email. Every interaction that we have on a computer or a phone is powered by a data centre somewhere, and then it goes out through the networks.
Would I be happy that one of these enormous places is near my house?
It depends what kind of data centre it is and how it's operating. I think people are surprised when they find out where data centres are. For security reasons, they don't tend to publicise themselves. I found out there was one on our business estate where our office is only the other week and nobody knew about it. Data centres are quite varied. So you have these massive small villages that the hyperscale companies run, which are the obvious ones. But there are also smaller data centres that are underground, and data centres that operate without anybody knowing about them.
Can they literally be anywhere? I mean, they're at no advantage. You say there's one near your office, for example. There's no advantage to you in that geographically, is there?
Not at the moment. So there are a couple of things on this. Data centres have to be where they have enough power. So there has to be grid capacity to serve them. So smaller data centres can go in smaller power centres, I guess, and larger ones have to go where there's huge grid capacity. But that's potentially changing with artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence means that you have to have faster data transfer. So you have to have information ping-ponging from the brain and the action, which means that you're likely to get smaller so-called edge data centers going forwards, and they can sit on a lower energy footprint potentially. The other thing is that people inside the sector and governments are looking at other places to put data centers where they haven't traditionally existed. So a good example is the west coast of Scotland, which has a lot of wind. People in government are looking at ways of developing that wind power, but if you're going to develop the wind power, you need a user for the electricity because the local population is not big enough. So therefore, you use a large energy user to stimulate renewable energy production in a new area, and then you build around that. And I guess if you...
Yeah, sorry. Carry on.
I also think that maybe if you're running AI workloads or if you're using increased robotics, it probably would benefit to have local compute near you.
Just on the issues of what they consume, these places, the concerns about, water usage, obviously energy supply as well. They must be expensive to run, and that could impact on people's bills, could it?
Potentially, and that's kind of about sharing. So the communities that have been objecting to data centres tend to be in countries where people have invited data centres to serve the international market. So there's more data centres than you would expect to serve that area. In some places, they're seeing an increase in energy bills. I'm not sure that that's happening in the UK. The other thing about data centre development is there's a big movement to looking at how you share energy with the local community. So data centres draw in a lot of energy. They create compute actions, but they also generate a lot of heat on the outside. So the energy turns into heat. And the sector is looking at ways of creating combined heat and power, which basically means that you absorb that heat in your local community for another reason. So you've probably seen the news about data centres heating up swimming pools in the UK already. What people are advocates of this system are looking to do is to increase that. So the heat could be used for greenhouses, for example, to grow more food, or it could be used for desalination plants, or it could be used for fish farms. And that's about cooperation with the local infrastructure and finding a way to make it work.
Astrid Wynne, we appreciate your time this morning. Astrid Wynne is Chair of Sustainability at the Data Centre Alliance. Thank you very much.